Good evening, and welcome to the 2024 Candidate Forum hosted by the Parker Chamber of Commerce. I'm John Rowlett, a financial advisor in Parker with Edward Jones, and I also serve on the board for the Chamber, and I'm the current chair of the Government Affairs Committee. We appreciate everyone that is joining us in person here at Black Bear Golf Course and those joining online. We look forward to getting to know more about the candidates and their priorities if elected in November. As a reminder, this event is being live streamed and we will be recording the proceedings. The recording will be posted to the Chamber's website and social media accounts following today's events. By RSVPing to participate, each candidate gives irrevocable permission to be filmed for this event. The event is only open to registered members of the Chamber who have reserved a seat in advance and guests of the candidates. There will not be any open Q&A as part of this forum, and all questions will be asked by our panelists. Our in-person audience has agreed to remain silent throughout tonight's forum so that we might respectfully hear and understand the perspectives of all the candidates. All registered candidates were invited to tonight's forum, and the Chamber and its members appreciate those of you that are here. Candidates were allowed to sit in whatever chair they preferred. Questions have been randomly assigned based on seats, so where you sit determines which questions you will be asked. No questions are intended for any specific candidate, and the order of opening and closing statements were also determined in advance based on where a candidate chose to sit. Because of the number of candidates we have, all time limits will be enforced, and we will signal you when you have 15 seconds left, like so, and we will also ring a bell when your time is up. There you go. And if I have to, I'll interrupt you if you continue going beyond your allotted time. So each candidate will be given a 60-second opening statement, and no rebuttals will be allowed for the opening statements. Following the opening statement, candidates will be asked direct questions by members of Parker Chamber's Government Affairs Committee. And if you're asked a question, you'll have 90 seconds to answer. And it is our intention that each candidate will be asked 3 questions tonight. Each candidate has been given a rebuttal card. They're pink. I have one, and I dropped it. They're right there on your tables. So if they, after a candidate asks a question, answers a question, and they want to rebut, lift that up. I will direct who can go first if there's more than one of you, and Bryson will be grabbing the cards. You each have 3 of those. When a candidate is out of rebuttal cards, they will not have another opportunity to speak or respond until their closing statement. Candidates, please use your rebuttal cards strategically for issues and responses you deem most important. After the question section of the event, each candidate will get a 60-second closing statement. And at this time, I would like to introduce the 3 members of the Parker Chamber of Commerce's Government Affairs Committee that will be asking the questions tonight. So we have Kevin Bakewell with Paylocity, we have Michelle Schlegel with Edward Jones, and we have Justin Rayburn with Fountainhead Commercial Real Estate. All right, so let's get started. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to provide their opening remarks, and we are starting with Mike Drennan, candidate Drennan, and our first question will come from Justin.
Opening statements.
Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. Mike, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Mike Drennan. I've been in Colorado for about 25 years. I've been married for 25, a father of 3 children. Been educated at the University of Missouri, Columbia for a bachelor's, went on to a master's at Washington University in St. Louis. I've studied in China as well as finance at London School of Economics. I think one of my greatest accomplishments has been lowering our mills from 41 to 29 this past year as elected president of Anthology. I'm a cross-functional leader, and I work my communication styles collaborative. So thank you so much.
All right, next we'll have Mayor Toborg.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out here. Mayor Jeff Toborg, and it has been an honor, truly an honor, to be your mayor for the last 4 years. You know, I have to take a moment and reflect back on 4 years ago when Josh and I were running for this seat before. You know, Josh was in his basement, I was in my office, there was nobody together. Restaurants were shut down in Parker, kids weren't playing in parks, schools were closed, and what a difference 4 years makes. And I am really glad to say Parker has come back stronger. We've opened more businesses since the pandemic has ended. Our businesses that went through the pandemic, by which, you know, most of them survived, probably 95% of them survived through the pandemic, are stronger now today than ever. And it's all really thanks to the town of Parker's citizens for getting out there, supporting them, and encouraging them to get through. I look forward tonight to talking about business and the next phase of my mayorship and how we're going to grow Parker in economic development terms, in terms of recreation, in terms of infrastructure, but most importantly, supporting our business community and how we plan to do that.
Councilman Rivera.
Good evening. Is that on? Yep. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joshua Rivero. It's an honor to be here in front of you. I am a Parker kid, graduated from Ponderosa a few years ago, and I'm a small business owner here in town, Fika Coffee House. My wife and I proudly own. We've owned it for 16 years. We've been a chamber member for 14 of those 16, and just really proud to be here. A little bit about myself. I've been elected for 12 years. I ran for the first time in 2012. With the encouragement of the mayor at that time, David Cassiano, and council members Mike Wade, Josh Martin, Scott Jackson, Amy Holland, and John and I ran, and we got in 2012, and I've proudly served since then. In that role, I have been liaison to the chamber. I have chaired multiple organizations, and it is my duty, I believe, and it has been my duty to represent Parker fair and justly, and to take Parker's word out regionally. And to this day, I proudly represent Parker to the best of my ability and all of Parker. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hefta.
Hi, my name is Laura Hefta, and I'm currently serving on Parker Town Council. I've been an attorney for 30 years, licensed in Colorado and Illinois. I'm also a retired colonel from the United States Army Judge Advocate General's Corps. And I also have my own business here in Parker, my own law firm focusing on wills, trusts, and estates. I am married to Mark Hefta, who's a civil engineer with Chevron, and we have 2 children, John and Martin. I really have enjoyed being a servant leader the past 4 years in Parker. There is a lot to learn when you serve on town council, and you really have to try to get up to speed to learn taxes, housing, transportation, economics, small businesses, to name a few. So I'm really looking forward to serving you in the future. Thank you.
You got the gist. Councilman Diak, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Dyke. I'm a Town of Parker council member for 12 years. I've been in Parker for 41 years, in the town limits for 27. I have been, my professional career, I have been a Parker Chamber member, I think, all but maybe a year or two. In previous life, I was a shareholder in a professional service company here located in Parker. I am currently a financial planner. I live in Bradbury Hills with my wife and 3 kids, 22, 20, and 17. My focus is on my avenue of service. When I'm on council has been largely transportation. I've also been, I've touched many different departments such as police, economic development, parks and recreation, arts and culture, and we have an emerging aging population, so that's of importance to me. Thank you very much.
And Councilman Hendricks.
Hello, I'm Todd Hendricks. I'm a 20-year resident here in Parker with my wife and 2 children. My career is in IT data analytics, and I'm a current council member, and along with that, a liaison to Parker Senior Center, and also a member of the Cherry Creek Valley Rotary Club of Parker, where I'm one of the main fundraiser coordinators for Parker Brewfest, which raises funds for nonprofits. I'm running because I feel like I have more to give to Parker. 4 years ago, I don't do campaign promises, I share a vision. And this council we have before you along in the audience, has done a lot of great things, from infrastructure to local economy, Parks and Rec, supporting the police, and I feel very proud of what I and the current council has accomplished, and I thank you.
Thank you all. And now I was so excited about the questions that I tried to get ahead of myself. So now we're going to do questions. So our panelists are going to go through those. And as a reminder, you'll have 90 seconds to answer the question posed directly to you. And the other candidates may weigh in using their rebuttal cards. And the rebuttal is limited to 60 seconds. So please wait on me to call on you before beginning a rebuttal. So we'll get started. Justin will be asking a question of Councilman Rivera.
All right, so our first question revolves around growth. Parker is growing and growing fast. With that comes a lot of worries about public safety, congestion, zoning, water, and other infrastructure. Do you think Parker is handling growth well? Why or why not? And if anything is missing in the town, and if what if anything is missing in the town's growth strategy?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. Obviously, it's the question that's on top of everybody's mind. And I think we're doing it incredibly well. We're an incredibly well planned out organization, from public works to police to all the different departments that touch what it is we're doing. We have a master plan, dated 2035 master plan, and that decides where things are going to go, that builds out our community and what it's going to look like and where the regional centers are and where the neighborhood centers are. And we're following that plan to the T. We have an 80-20 split. 80% of the homes in Parker will be single family and 20% will be multifamily. Multifamily includes for rent products and also for sale products. And that for sale products is, I'm going to come back to at the end. So we are incredibly well planned out. You'll see right now, I know it's hard, especially during election season, all the cones that are going on. But I see the cones and it actually makes me happy, and I know that sounds ghoulish, but it actually is a good thing because we are improving our streets, we're improving our intersections, we're making it more better to flow for everybody to get through. Those dollars are regional dollars that we brought down from the state, from the county, from even the federal system to reinvest back into Parker. And I think it's important to point out that our growth is directly beneficial to our community because it's the developers that build the roads. Any of you that have come down off Chambers hitting Hess Road, you can see Chambers being built over the hill down south. That's developer funded. The gentleman that is building or developing that area there, he's paying for that road. So I'm really excited. The one area that we need help in is construction of condominiums. That is the one multifamily thing that we're lacking. So we'll get there.
All right, our next question will be for Councilwoman Hefta.
Oh,
We got a
we've
rebuttal.
Yeah. All right, great. Can you repeat the question real quick?
Parker is growing and growing fast. With that comes a lot of worries about public safety, congestion, zoning, water, and other infrastructure. Do you think Parker is handling growth well? Why or why not? And what, if anything, is missing in the town's growth strategy?
First, I want to say that I think we're all up here because we love Parker. We think Parker's a great community. I also want to say that everybody's going to have a different opinion. So with that said in mind, I think when you start looking at safety in Parker, one of the things I would look at is law enforcement. And we just spent $35 million on a brand new town hall. Could we have expanded law enforcement? Could we have added 2 SROs to every school? I think those would enhance and give the folks of the community a lot more sense of security. I think it's a very good spend. Those are gonna, they're gonna debate this. In addition to that, I would say responsible growth. That $35 million was paid for in cash from funds. I think it would have been better funded if we would have taken out a bond under 5% and reinvested that money additionally in maybe a senior citizen center or something else for the community. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Toborga.
I needed an add-on card, not a rebuttal card, but I just want to note too that, as we develop, as we build out the last, 25, 30% of our town, the council and I have taken great honor and pride in the fact that, when a developer goes and brings a plat to us, they still have to pull back about 40% of that developed land for schools, for parks, for open space, for sidewalks. So, while they could have developed the whole 100% of that property, this council takes very, very good care of the land around it, making sure that they're not able to develop on all of it so that we can still continue to have those open spaces and really that sense of community that we have If you get out on the Cherry Creek Trail, you see it. You see so much open space and stuff, but as you're going down Parker Road, it obviously seems a little bit more congested. And to Josh's point, I'm really excited to end the cone zone wars for the season.
Thank you. I just want to touch on one point. And that point is the funding for your town hall. When we went out, I'm going to talk really fast. I talk fast anyway, but we got limited time here. So when we went out, we built the police station, we built the Pace Center, we built PWalk, which is Public Works. We built all of these things on COP bonds. And when we did that, folks looked at us like, why are you financing Save Cash? Well, then COVID came and we got a 2-year windfall of sales tax dollars. It's not anything you can budget on. This is a one-time thing. This is not something that we can budget on over a 10-year plan or over anything like that. So what did we do with that? We put it into a fund and did exactly what those folks asked for 10 years ago and paid cash for an expansion that was 10 years out of date.
I have Councilman Dyke.
All right, I'm going to sit because there is a significant edge here. I tend to move, and I don't want to be in the hospital just yet tonight. So I'm going to try to sort of touch on the things that weren't touched on. My apologies if I'm redundant, but I think from a growth standpoint, we have other special districts. We have Parker Water and Sanitation. We have other sanitation departments, which do other services such as water. We have South Metro Fire. So anytime an application comes in, we refer out to ensure that they can handle what is the growth that is coming into this town. Josh and Jeff mentioned the cone zones. Our Public Works Director a couple weeks ago in a study session indicated this was largely the largest amount of spend that we have had on roads. We have successfully leveraged our local dollars to get, again, as Josh said, county dollars, federal dollars, so we can improve roads for the citizens as we get to full build-out.
We doing
Thanks.
one more rebuttal?
Yeah, we got one more.
Okay.
So I think part of your question was public safety. So I think Josh did a great job on explaining why they paid off what they did and why they invested in the community, and I think that's wonderful. But I'm not sure how City Hall is going to really improve the quality of life for everybody here in this community. In addition to that, he talked about how we paid off a bond. That bond was 12.5, roughly 3.25%. The S&P 500 returned 15% in the last 10 years. We actually lost money as a community by paying off that bond. We could have made money if we would have just left that bond in and then reinvested that money. Instead, we chose to use cash and we liquidated that. We lost basically 12% on our investment. So it comes back to fiscal management. If you think a city hall is right and you want to pay cash for expenditures, wonderful. But I think building more police structures and building more SRO officers in the community will pay dividends. Thank you.
Any more? we wait? No, we got one more. All right.
I'm trying to burn through mine, Mike, so keep me good, okay? Again, I think just to respond to Mike's comments, I'm on the Investment Advisory Committee in the town of Parker. As with any kind of funds that we have an investment policy statement which is incredibly conservative. We cannot invest in S&P or any kind of equities at all. We can only invest in highly liquid government securities and other funds, if you will. So that is what we do with our excess cash. We have our budget is fund accounting. Fund accounting is incredibly different than what everybody thinks in terms of cash and accrual out there in the business world. That needs to be taken care of. So as we approach full build out, I want to leave Parker in a place where we are debt free and we don't have any imperative needs that the community needs to fully bond out. Thank you.
All right, we good? All right, now we'll go to our second question from Michelle for Councilwoman Hafta.
Okay, so this is a question about economic development. What is Parker doing right with regard to economic development, and what could it be doing better? Should Parker have an economic development corporation like Castle Rock and Highlands Ranch? And if so, why?
Well, economic development in Parker is related to small businesses, large businesses, jobs, and providing for the community. In Parker, we have an Economic Development Council, and you can find that at parkered.com. What we are doing right in Parker, and you can watch that on the video at parkered.com, is we are doing our small businesses right. We have started so many new small businesses in this town, and you can watch those on the YouTube channel, and there's a diversity of businesses as well. So we're also engaging in expansion of those businesses, and we are bringing those businesses along in training and resources and our Parker revolving loan fund as well. So if you want to start a new business in Parker, there's a revolving loan fund for that as well. We also, in Douglas County, have the Douglas County Economic Development group, and they are starting up, and they are bringing in businesses from all over the world to Douglas County, and we in Parker are also joining in that group as well. We also have the Douglas County Economic Collaborative, which our mayor sits on. And so we are doing things right in Parker with bringing new businesses, retaining jobs, creating jobs, helping our small businesses grow. And I might give a shout out to the small businesses. Thank you, small businesses, for your use of space, your nonprofit events, your public community events. You really, really work hard in Parker to provide a beautiful community for all of us.
Mayor Torborg.
So Councilmember Hefta touched on a little bit about what we do, but we have great incentive policies here in the town of Parker for economic development. We share back taxes. We with grocery stores, we share back a portion of that. We fund some of the architecture that it takes to build. But what we need to do more, we need to be on this more global scale, on the more metro scale. So I participate in the Douglas County Economic Development Collaborative. We actually have a site selection group coming through this Friday to Parker, and these are national and international groups that are coming to see what Parker has to offer them. Just last Friday, we broke ground on a 200,000 square foot data center, first of its kind in the town of Parker, which will bring back $2.2 million in excise and franchise tax every year to us. We're entertaining an international aerospace group that will be building components for satellite parts right here in Parker. We need to build on these items. We need to not only use our incentives that we have here in the town of Parker, but we also need to look to our commissioners, to our Douglas County incentive package, because it's a whole different ballgame than what we have, and tie those together to get good, solid paying jobs here in Parker. You know, I think all the parents that I talk to, they have one goal in their life, right? They have one goal, is that their kids are healthy, happy, educated, but I think secretly everybody wants their kids to move back to Parker, to have a job where they can buy a house, raise their family in close proximity. And if you're like me, I want to live with my kids one day so they can take care of me. So, but we're doing a lot right in economic development, but we have so much further to go.
All right, our third question from Kevin will be for Councilman Dyak.
Now, a question about small business. The most common complaint the Chamber hears from small businesses is the slow pace of permitting in the town of Parker. They say it takes too long to open a new small business here, with many entrepreneurs burning through precious capital on high commercial rent, thus unable to open their businesses. What can Parker do to ensure that business permitting and approvals are moving at a pace that is fair to these business owners?
Thank you for the question. To me, I think permitting is always a challenge, whether it's for developers or for small businesses. If a small business is building a construction, a new build, if you will, we're very aware that time is money. We continually look inward. We have updated our policies many years ago. We found out that fire was the laggard in terms of identifying what the turnaround time was. It was delaying that. So what we did is we brought that in-house in order to speed up the process. We also invested in software. Track It is a software that is used to show applicants real time how their permit is progressing. The biggest challenge I think that Parker has is our external referral agencies. Not to throw them under the bus, they're doing the best they can, but it is a process, and just because Parker gets the application, we have to then turn around and again give it to the school district, give it to the water, give it to fire, and fire still has a small role in that. So that's the challenge. We're continually trying to help small businesses and partnership with the chamber. Hopefully, continued dialogue and getting your boots on the ground information, I think, would be incredibly well received by the town here going forward. Thank you.
Good timing. All right, our next question will be for Councilman Hendricks from Justin.
All right, this is a question about education. The Douglas County School District will again push for a bond issue to pay for desperately needed repairs to existing schools and the construction of new schools to cope with the county's expanding population. However, voters have been resistant to invest in public school infrastructure. What is your position on the current bond request, and should Parker voters be supporting these types of investments?
Well, I believe there was a school recently that had sewer problems and then closed because of old equipment. So there's definitely a need for improvements at schools. I'm a parent. I support our schools. To me, children are our future. It's an investment. I've seen schools fall apart. There's older schools that have been neglected. I, as a parent, would support supporting the bond issue because I see the need. As far as other citizens, that's up to them. But schools improve property values of your homes. It improves the community, and if we don't support them, that crumbles.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to say that prior to running or potentially being elected to council, I met with Aaron at the school board twice personally. I think I think we need to be, the school board's a stakeholder in our community without a doubt. I think Aaron's done a nice job on trying to solidify the school board. We did support one of the tax initiatives last year the community supported to pay for teachers. And I think one of the reoccurring themes was we want to match what's going on with the Cherry Creek school districts. I don't want this to turn into a debate about the school district because I do think we need to invest. But I also think the school board needs to look at how they're investing their money. Recently, in the Legacy campus, they created a training program for electric cars. I think it's awesome. But could they do a private-public partnership on that training to help save us? Are there cost-saving initiatives that the school board can do that could help increase the infrastructure? Again, I don't want to get in a debate about the school board out of respect for Aaron and everything they've done, but I think everybody in the community wants safe and sound schools, and I think that they are a current stakeholder, but I think they need to be a little bit more transparent on how they manage their funds. With that said, I do not support the current initiative for the infrastructure. I would support a cross-functional partnership where we sit down and collaborate on spending and we create a 5-year plan. Thank you.
All right, next question will be from Michelle for Mr. Drennan.
Okay, so this is a question about county government and how it impacts Parker. In the 2024 legislative session, a state measure was considered to require counties over a certain population threshold to have a minimum of 5 commissioners. Douglas County currently has 3. Given the newsworthy infighting among the 3 current commissioners, do you believe that the number should be expanded to 5? Why or why not?
Well, that's a great question, but I think the real question is the county running effectively? That's really what you're asking is, are the 3 doing a great job? I think the county is doing a great job. I think you're always going to have a difference of opinions. That's the beautiful thing about our elections, and that's the beautiful thing about the current board setup. I also don't want the state of Colorado dictating what we're doing here in Douglas County. The real question is the state doing the right things for our citizens? I think every one of us in this room would have questions with how the state's being run. So I think the answer to that is I think 3 is fine. I think if the state wants to input or give us leadership on how to manage our community, they should first start with their own. I mean, we've got a fentanyl problem, we've got a carjacking problem, we've got a number of different issues. One is not putting 2 more commissioners on the board. So in fairness, I think the question's awesome, but I think it more goes back to how the state's being run. And I like a lot of my, lost it. Oh, like a lot of my citizens and fellow neighbors have some serious questions about this. So I don't think that adding 2 more commissioners is going to add anything. And I think the infighting is good because everybody in this room, we talked a little bit about the First Amendment this year, and it got some publicity. I think having a difference of opinion is awesome, and I think that's what makes us great. Thank you.
All right. Next question will be for Mayor Toborg from Kevin.
The next question is about housing. The lack of attainable workforce housing is one of the most pressing issues in this state, and there is wide agreement that more housing inventory is needed, particularly in the Denver metro area. What are some specific actions the town of Parker can take to be part of the solution to the housing crunch?
Thank you for that question. And you're right, housing across our state, across our country is an issue. You know, Parker is going to get hit coming in next year with the current legislation about ADUs, about the number of people that can live in a dwelling, and the inability to prohibit parking on streets. We're going to get slammed with that. What can we do as a town? It's not the proper role for Parker to do anything about that. You know, we can't, I don't feel like we should incentivize builders to come and build. I think, you know, we level the playing field and we let them in with their products. You know, I am proud to say that Tony DeSimone and the Confluence Company, who is coming in to redevelop downtown Parker, will have for sale condominium products. We have Hunter Chase out at Stroh and Crowfoot Valley that has for sale condominium projects. All over Parker, you know, there's a little smattering. But when you talk to realtors, when you talk to builders, you know, they have to take like 200,000 pictures of their condo as they build it and take out enormous insurance policies on these things just to sell, just to prove that they didn't have a defect. So where does it stand? We've got to have construction defect reform in the state that will trickle down to the town of Parker. You know, we've got the trial lawyers who have a grip on it. We've testified at the Capitol for years on this. Realtors know it, developers know it. The ones that are holding it back is the trial lawyers. Until our legislature is willing to pass construction defect laws, we're stuck. We're really stuck.
All right. Councilwoman Hefta.
So housing in Parker. Recently, the state legislature passed Proposition 123, which directs funding of programs to help essential workers up to 0.1% each year. Parker had the opportunity with other municipalities in Douglas County to join into this collaborative, and we did. We joined into it because we want to see affordable housing in Parker. And if we don't join into it, we leave money on the table for other municipalities to get their share of affordable housing in Parker. Now in Parker, we have about 1,000 units of apartments right now that are vacant. And so let me tell you about Sharon. Sharon is a person who owns a business, and she has affordable housing here in Parker. Thank you.
Councilman Rivero, did you want to?
No.
You're good? All right, sounds good. All right, so the next question is for you, Councilman Rivero, from Justin.
All right, this next question is about community wellness. Since 2022, Secor Cares has seen a 220% increase in families experiencing food insecurity. Some people in Parker are struggling to make ends meet, and the burden, of help has fallen largely on the already overextended nonprofit community. As it relates to policy and budget, how can the town do more to help people struggling with suburban poverty?
Thank you. That's an incredible question and timely, as you know. Corps and the task force and the other not-for-profits are doing an incredible job, and it's about connecting the individuals with those organizations. As far as the town is set up, we don't have a human services department. We don't have a way to interject or to help out. What we do have is the county and their human services department, and having the county seat in Castle Rock is great, it's wonderful, but to be honest, we're 17 miles away. And sometimes we get forgotten about here in the northeast corner. And what I would like to see, and what we had at one time, was a human services office in the Parker Task Force. That Parker Task Force was built with some county contributions under the promise that there would be a manned office in that building helping those folks to county services, to the exact thing that we all pay for as county citizens. But unfortunately, right now, you've got to go down to Castle Rock. Now, if you're, I'm not going to, I don't want to get sad here, but if you're having a hard time and you're trying to get through things, can you really take the time to drive down to Castle Rock? If you don't have a car, all those situations are really hard. We need regional services that are inside of our town that are provided by our county, since the 67,000 of us contribute into those services. Those services need to be represented in our town.
All right, next question will be for Councilwoman Hefta.
The next question is about emergency preparedness. A 2022 study by the Colorado Health Institute put Douglas County in the highest risk category for wildfire exposure due to high proportions of human development near dry, undeveloped wildland. It was the only Front Range county given that designation. Given the economic devastation of the Marshall Fire in 2021, should Parker or Douglas County be doing anything proactively to mitigate the risk of wildfires?
Well, thank you for asking that question. The town of Parker does have an emergency preparedness document. In fact, it's listed on the Town of Parker website. And the Town of Parker is currently updating that website. And this year, we are also hiring an emergency preparedness liaison at the Parker Police Department. We also coordinate with Douglas County for their emergency preparedness, and of course South Metro Fire in our sheriff's office. And so the county and the town as a whole are well prepared to engage in any action needed to mitigate a wildfire, a flood, should that happen here, for the town of Parker. And the police department is chiefly responsible for that emergency preparedness agreement. So I believe that we are in great shape here in the town of Parker on this matter, and we're only going to get better on this because of the new liaison being hired and the emergency preparedness update, and also our coordination with FEMA and other federal and state agencies as well.
You're ahead of me already. All right, next question is Councilman Dyack.
Now back to economic development. What would it take to draw more primary employers and higher wage jobs to Parker? Or should we accept our economic profile as a bedroom community?
Well, great question, and I think we've been talking about this in my 12 years and previous to that. I think, to us, the challenge is how do we get Parker out of the bedroom community syndrome? I think COVID did a really good job of showing us the light that people can work from home. I think employers, if they're not located in Parker, can have indicated to staff that they can do that. But from a Parker standpoint, I think it's challenging. Our biggest asset is E470. The primary employers, those people want accessibility. They want that ability. And with us, quite honestly, not being on I-25 or having I-25 frontage is a bit challenging at this point in time. As Mayor Toborg indicated, we have Compark area, which is being built out with a data center. There are other employer opportunities out there, Charter Communications, and a host of other smaller entities. I think that is sort of what we have to look forward to. We're slowly getting to a full build-out status, but our opportunity is E470 and that corridor that presents itself. And that is how we grow and create primary employment here in the town of Parker.
All right, Mayor Tolborg.
So obviously in economic development, I take a different approach, right? I think we need to look at what's available out there in the market, which is why I'm going down to the site selector meeting on Friday to meet with the folks that are really choosing people and where they're going to be, right? What they say about Parker is we're educated, we've got the skills, we've got the manpower, we lack the diversity. And that's why they don't want to be here, because of that lack of diversity in our town. Because if you're coming from international or even across the country, you know, Parker is Parker. Parker is still kind of a small hometown, which we all love. But you know, our areas we need to focus on is high tech. We need to focus on bioscience and leverage Sky Ridge and Parker Adventist. And we certainly need to focus on any of those little small businesses that grow into big businesses, such as aerospace that starts out small with 100, gets to 1,000, gets to 10,000 in any of our Compark areas. You know, Parker has a lot to give. We still have a lot of land up in Compark area, around Meridian, that area that we can still come in on.
All right, next question will be for Councilman Hendricks.
All right, now a question about inclusion. The Chamber's new strategic plan specifically sets goals around engaging with minority-owned businesses. What do you think the council and the town should do to proactively engage and address the issues facing diversely owned small businesses?
Well, I think it's working with partners like the Chamber or the DBA, working with them to reach out to these small businesses and see what they need. I know this is a different question for me. I'm stumbled here. I think Parker is a welcoming town, and we support our small mom and pop businesses, and I don't see that changing. And so really, again, just working with partners to help bring them in and spread the word and let them help their businesses grow as a community as a whole. Thank you.
I think Todd's on the right point. It's about understanding and making sure that they feel welcome. And going to every business that opens, and as the chamber for ribbon cuttings, and as your elected representation, we need to go to every business that is opening and establish those relationships and make sure they feel included. Inclusion is about being included, and so each business needs to know that they're welcome. They serve a point. They serve a service into this community, and getting out there and getting to know everybody that comes into this community, finding out what they do, finding out what they offer, finding the story. Why are they? How do they get into business? What are their dreams? And learning more about that. That's where the diversity comes in. That's what we can do as a government, but more importantly, as Todd said, as our partners could do with the DBA and the chamber. Get out and make sure every business feels welcome. That's what makes us a hometown. That's what gives us the hometown feel.
All right, next question will be for Mr. Drennan.
Concerning transportation and infrastructure, Parker Road is indisputably the town's primary commercial artery. What should Parker Road look like in 10 years, and what should the town of Parker be doing now to shape it?
That's a great question. Before I get to that, we'll talk about infrastructure. We talked a little bit about E470 and the connectivity to the community. I think E470 is great. It's a vital part of this state, but I'm just going to tell you, it chaps my ass having to pay for a toll road that's on our land. So I appreciate John's comments on that. As far as Parker Road goes, I'll get to that in a minute. We talked about we talked about the community and human outreach and resources in the community. I know that we couldn't invest the $12.5 million in the S&P 500, but we certainly could have kept a low interest rate, took that 12.5, we could have invested into some other infrastructures in the community. Parker Pantry is a resource. It is in Parker, and those struggling families only are allowed 12 times a year to get food. After that, you're shit out of luck, and you got to go someplace else. So I think we've got to take care of that. As far as Parker Road goes, it's only going to get busier, and I think the town has done a good job on putting more roads to try and ease the infrastructure in the community. But I think, you know, it's just one of those issues that as we grow, the congestion's going to grow on Parker Road. Sorry, thank you.
So all types of transportation in the state of Colorado are subsidized in some way. And I'm going to give you some statistics here. 65% of folks drive, 21% work from home, 9% carpool, 3% walk, 2% take public transit, 1% taxi, 1% bike. Transportation is also about road improvement. Hess, Chambers, Parker Road, Stroh, Lincoln, Dransfeld. Our Public Works and Engineering Department, with your capital improvement money and sharebacks from developers and the town of Parker funds, is improving the transportation in Parker. And we're also planning for the future. We're looking at what is needed along Parker Road, because there is some open space there. There is some infill. And those private land developers will be wanting to sell those private lands in the future. So we are looking at that right now to determine future zoning in Parker.
Was there one more? Oh. He's got it. All right.
The question was Parker Road. Is this work? It is, okay. Yeah, Parker Road, the town of Parker did a Parker corridor study. That was largely funded by federal funds coming back to the town of Parker. We leveraged federal funds to bring it back to say, what's it going to look like? Obviously, with CDOT being financially and fiscally constrained, they are largely a maintenance organization right now. They do some new development, but our issues here in Parker are not big enough for CDOT to take a look and say, hey, let's help with Parker. We have had to spend millions of town dollars that we collect to improve Parker Road because our citizens need to be safe, our citizens need accessibility, and that is what we're looking to do. We're looking to build a better Parker Road in spite of the person who owns that, which is CDOT. Thank you.
You're good, Todd. All right. All right, so our next question will be for Mayor Toberg.
We have a question about economic development. The Town of Parker's Master Plan 2035 notes a lack of light industrial and flexible space for small businesses that provide products and services for local, regional, and sometimes international markets. It's been 10 years since the master plan was adopted in 2014, but there has been little or no progress in creating more of this light industrial space. Should the town of Parker be doing more to create more places for light industrial businesses?
That's a great question. And TJ, I was going to ask, if we donate to the foundation, can we buy more rebuttal cards at the end? It's a good one. To that, you know, one of the simple but complex answer is, right, you can't buy more ground, right? And if we could, we would certainly buy more ground. You know, the moratorium was put on storage units for that very reason. So we'd get more light industrial in that area. And certainly as we grow to the south and west, there's those opportunities for businesses, but not the light industrial. So it's really relegated up to the property by the hospital for biosciences, aerospace, and certainly up at Com Park. You know, I think future councils are going to have to, if they want Parker to be competitive in the economic development space, they're going to have to look at annexing land to bring into the town of Parker. And usually we say we don't want to annex because, you know, with residential, we don't bring the tax increment. But when you bring in commercial land, that's a whole new ballgame, right? That's franchise tax fees, that's incentives, that's sales tax that you want to bring in. So I think the town of Parker, you know, with the master plan, we're going to have to look at that because you're right, we're low on land. We're going to have to look at a part of that is increasing the land, annexing, but then really looking at the land that we do have and taking great stock in that and what we do want to put there.
All right, because I want to switch it up, we're not going to go to Josh. We're going to actually go back to Todd. And next question will come from Justin.
Again, this subject is on growth. Development in downtown Parker over the next several years is going to mean huge traffic problems for those using Main Street as a transportation artery. The construction might also be a deterrent to those who currently access downtown for shopping, services, and entertainment. What should the town be doing in the short and in the long term to lessen the conflict between commuters, shoppers, and construction?
In the short term, just to educate the public about the future construction that's happening. It's currently being will be done in phases to minimize the impact of that. But I have faith in our traffic department. There's obviously cones all over right now, and they do an excellent job of directing traffic and telling the public what's going to happen. It will be a pain, but I think in the end, we're going to see a better Parker with My Main Street project being completed in hopefully 5-6 years. And there are alternatives to get to where you need to go, east and west, Pine Lane and Hess and Hilltop. But it will be a challenge. But again, I have complete faith in our traffic department and our communications department within the town to let the citizens know. They're doing a tremendous job with all the cones out there right now with the expansion or improvements at Parker Road, the improvements with happening with Dransfeld, and Stroh Road will be coming along too, and Chambers Road, which isn't quite impacting them since there's no homes there. But there's so much infrastructure improvements happening right now, it's unprecedented. And I think we're doing a good job, and we'll continue to do a good job.
All right, next question will be for Councilman Dyack.
On the issue of public safety, with the rapid population growth in Parker and Douglas County, what should the town and the police department do to stem the potential impact of increased criminal activity?
Thank you very much. Ever since I've been here and beyond, public safety is one of the hallmarks that Douglas County and Parker has offered to the community. We have traditionally have had a safe environment. The answer, quite honestly, is to fund the police. That is what you have to do. We have budget meetings, and that is one of those primary questions. What do you need, police, in order to make us safe? Everybody in Parker has come here, and the expectation is they are in a safe environment. And it's up to us as council members. It's our duty to follow through on that. So, to me, quite honestly, the answer is to fund the police, interact with the police, identify what they need. If you talk to our police are very collaborative with the sheriff and with other departments. When there is a need, we respond here in Parker. The Aurora Theater shootings. One of the hallmark photos of that was a Parker police car being there, as well as every other police organization here in the region. So fund the police is the answer.
So speaking of funding the police are funded at $24.6 million per year for their budget. And under the direction and leadership of Chief Serapis, we have held the standard for hiring police officers in our town. Our police officers are highly trained. You can go to the Town of Parker website for police, and you can look at their public reports. You can look at no bias policing, no chokeholds, and we also have excellent community teams that go into our schools, and we've also funded those as well. Overall, a town has to seek to manage and address issues of public safety. Towns can't eliminate crime, but they can seek to address them by creating excellent policy, funding their police departments, and having outstanding training for their police departments. And we have an excellent police department in the town of Parker.
Yeah, just this morning, actually, I attended a coffee with a cop, which is a community outreach to the citizens of Parker. And I can tell you that our police department is one of the finest in the country. And I can also tell you that this council backs the police, and you can ask any officer that what their feelings are on that. We make sure they're properly funded. We make sure we listen to them. When I first joined council, I think it was 4 of us, we passed a insurance policy, $25,000 insurance policy to help them in case some frivolous lawsuit was given to them, to give them a cushion that they otherwise wouldn't have. And I believe we're one of the few municipalities that have that. This council wants to also make sure that they're highly compensated and have terrific benefits, because unfortunately, different towns and cities are poaching officers, and we have to be competitive. But this council, I can tell you, we back them, and they know it, and I'm very proud of our department. Thank you.
All right, next question will be for Councilwoman Hefta. No, Councilwoman Hefta. No, you're good.
On the topic of taxation and revenue, what is your opinion on Parker's current revenue model? Should the town be generating more or less revenue, and how does that relate to increasing demands on services and infrastructure as the town grows? Some examples of the services and infrastructure include road maintenance, police, park and recreation.
So currently, the town is at 2.602 mills in Parker, and that's for 23 and 24. The town has eliminated debt with the Public Works and Engineering Department and the Parks and Rec Department. And so the town is fiscally responsible. And I think the current debt right now might be about 23 million. The budget of Parker is about 194 million for the next year, and about 247 million for this previous year. The town manages its budget through its finance, through its finance, and budgeting department. And the tax rate in Parker is 3%. Again, 2.9% goes to the state, 1% Douglas County, 1% to a special, 1.10% to a special fund with the RTD and science and fund. But I think we're doing a great job of managing our debt and the growth that comes in. We have a steady rate of growth, about 8.76%.
Yeah, I think right now we're at a good spot, though I would say RTD is kind of a bugaboo with me. We give them in the district roughly 17 million, but we get a fraction of the service, maybe not even $1 million. The model just doesn't work. It's just 2 bus lines, and the demand is not there. So that 1% sales tax that RTD gets, in my mind, is just doesn't fit here. And we tried twice as a council to get out of RTD, but it's somewhat impossible given the demographics at the state capital. However, I do think transportation is important, and a different kind of model, like a shuttle service, kind of like what Lone Tree has, Lone Tree Links, to get people to the light rail or whatever, hopefully will cost less, and I don't think would need a 1% sales tax. Getting out of that Roach Motel might be difficult, but that's where I feel. Thank you.
All right. Our next question will be for Councilman Rivera.
This question is about Parker's workforce. Advent Health Parker has been vocal about the challenges it faces recruiting and retaining skilled healthcare workers. With other healthcare employers like Kaiser and Health One expanding their operations here, what should we be doing to support the ability for healthcare workers to build careers in Parker?
Great question. And for me, this comes to housing, plain and simple. You have an incredible community that is expensive to live in. And that reason, the reason that we're expensive to live in is because we lack 2 pieces of the pie. We lack aging homes for those above 55, but more importantly, we lack condominiums. And we touched on this earlier. And when you lack condominiums, what happens is you have people that stay in the rental market too long. They should be working towards, starting working towards equity building and whatnot, but they stay in the rental market. Well, that inflates the rents. And those that are starting their lives out can't afford to live in their hometown. At the same time, you have folks that enter the housing market too soon, and that makes those individuals house poor, as you say, so they can't afford to participate in their community activities and whatnot. So when you don't have a wide variety of housing situations for the workforce at all different levels, when you're missing that middle gap, you don't get those folks that are starting out. You don't get that young workforce. You don't get the nurses. You don't get the firefighters. You don't get the folks that are just starting on their journey. We have plenty of homes for professionals. We need homes for the folks in the younger years that are just starting their journey into equity. That answer is construction defects, and that can only be answered at the state capitol. And I will testify every single year down at the state capitol, as I did last year. You'll see I have the support of the Home Builders Association because I am so adamant down there that you guys need to fix construction defects because you are killing Colorado. And now you're coming out with regulation to fix it, and you cannot deregulate through regulation. Can I ask a procedural question?
Yes.
How many questions do we have left? Because I'm budgeting my...
We've got 2 questions left. So you could use one here. The next question you might not want to, but we'll see. And all right, we'll move on to the next one, and it's for Mayor Toborg.
Okay, so another question about housing. There are a lot of single-family homes and apartment complexes in and around Parker. What should the town of Parker be doing to encourage more diversity of housing solutions, particularly with regard to condos, duplexes, accessory dwellings, affordable senior housing, and other creative housing options?
Can I say what he said? But, in all seriousness, and it is a really serious problem, right? The construction defect laws have hamstrung us. I don't know what Parker's going to be able to do now that the state legislature has taken away the municipality's exemption for ADUs. We could be having ADUs all across Parker in backyards, over garages, et cetera. There are some builders that are building out in Looking Glass and Tentera that are going to be offering that now that it's available. So more of a multi-generational family aspect. But it's hard. But to get back to the question on healthcare just for a second, people aren't. Housing is one aspect of the healthcare issue, but people are leaving nursing, they're leaving medical, they're leaving these fields in the droves. And I think one of the aspects that's really good that Douglas County Schools is doing is they've got their CNA program, their RN program that they're going out. You can graduate from high school with a CNA and then go in for 2 more years of nursing school to graduate with your BSN. That is going to help in the medical field, getting those folks in. Housing is one aspect of it. But, really in terms of housing in the town of Parker, it's what Councilman Rivero said. We need senior housing, we need condos, we need apartments, we need multifamily, we need single family, the list goes on and on. We need a mixed bag.
All right, so here's our last question for Mr. Drennan.
And the last question is about economic development.
Great.
Residents of Parker frequently complain about the same businesses popping up in Parker: chicken restaurants, car washes, gas stations, and more. What can the town of Parker do from an economic development standpoint to better diversify the type of commercial development occurring in the town?
That's a great question. One of the things is if we have certain businesses come in, we can't pick and choose which ones want to do business with us. It just wouldn't be fair. Again, out of fairness for the businesses. But I will talk about just a little bit about the tax. We came up a few minutes ago. I do think one of the things we can do for businesses, and I think for the citizens of Parker, we can cut the tax. We can cut the tax on diapers and feminine products. We can add a tax on cigarettes if need be. But more importantly, you're talking about business and trying to limit what businesses come in. I'm going to be honest with you. We had an 18% tax increase in sales tax. We just had a 3.75. So I don't think we should be talking about limiting. I think we should be talking about how we're going to spend our money effectively in this community, because we've got slightly an issue. When you look at the budget in 2024, page 51, the ending fund balance was negative 29%. You can look that up. After transfers and adjustments, we're down 6%. Regarding, as far as condos and asking the state of Colorado, for me, amen. That's what I hear after a prayer. I mean, there's just no way. So I don't think we should be looking at complaining, do we have too many McDonald's? Do we have too many car washes? I think the real question is, how do we structure business to do better things in our communities? The broadband here sucks. If you have a cell phone, it drops all the time. A lot of us live in communities. We work from home. So I think we should be looking for solutions. We should be cutting taxes, and we continue to be more business friendly. I think that's the answer. Thank you.
To the question about the businesses, all businesses are important to Parker. We garner 75% of our revenue in our budget, which, by point, must be balanced. That's the law. We can't print money. We can't run deficits. That doesn't happen. So there's page 51 is just the middle of the budget. Get to the end. And so what we need to do is ensure that we have many different kinds of businesses. And I want to remind folks that as much as they don't like the chains employ the same kids that the mom and pops do. And that's what's important. It's workforce. It's getting teenagers jobs. It's getting people to come into this town. I would love to see more mom and pops, and I think they're coming. When we did My Main Street program, we found Confluence Companies and Tony DeSimone. And Tony's commitment to, if you go down to Castle Rock, to filling his buildings with Colorado-owned companies is coming to Parker. You're going to see mom and pops at the storefront level on Main Street. The chains have a place. They have a place in the strip malls. But downtown, you're going to see Colorado mom and pops, and this town loves their mom and pop shops. I and my wife know for a fact.
That was our last question. I think you've got one rebuttal left, don't you, Todd, if you want to use it?
I agree with Josh.
You're going to drop the mic. All right, thank you all. All right, now we're going to go into our closing remarks. Candidates will have 60 seconds, and we are going to begin with Councilman Dyack.
Thank you. Again, John Dyack, 41-year Parker resident. I love my community, and as a spreadsheet introvert guy, I never in a million years thought I would be on this stage 12 years into a civic commitment. I feel I have 4 more years left in me to get back to my community. It all started in high school, Ponderosa. Parker Road was very substandard, and we needed to expand. So the community rallied and got Governor Romer at that time to expand. So to me, everything is started there and moved forward. I give Parker my leadership ability. Again, I've been past chair of DRCOG. Current board chair of E470. I just would like to serve my community for 4 more years. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hefta.
These past 3.5 years has been an amazing journey on Parker Town Council. I have engaged in outreach into the faith community, our Christian community, the Shabbat Jewish Center, and any other religion that wants to come to Parker. I've sat on boards for Southeast Christian Church. I was recently asked to sit on the Parker Faith Council board. I've helped nonprofits. I've helped small businesses. I am a mom of 2 boys, and I am engaged in the community. I am out there every day meeting and greeting folks and solving problems. And that's what I like to do. I like to solve problems. I like to help folks. And you can read about that on laurahefta.com. I have 52 blog posts which talk about all the issues in Parker. And I really enjoy working with this council. It's been a great council, and I really hope that in the future I get the chance to serve and be a servant leader for another 3 years on Parker Town Council. Go to laurahefta.com to read about the issues.
Yep.
First and foremost, I need to apologize. I talk fast. That's because I'm passionate. This is my passion. I love this town. And I think that that needs to be said, is what is the reason we're sitting up here? Is the reason we're up here because we want to pad a resume or we want to play to get a higher seat? Or is the reason we're up here because this is about Parker? My passion is this community. My passion is this business community. My passion is the town that I grew up in, that my younger brothers and sisters grew up in, and that I want my kids to grow up in. My passion is not about striving for higher office. My passion is not about appeasing one party or the other. My passion is appeasing you. And I think Councilman Dyak said it on the campaign trail quite a few times. The reason I do this is because I feel indebted to my community. This community made me a better person, and I need to make this community a better place through every bit of power I have. I hope you vote for me again, and I appreciate it. My website is joshuaformayor.com. Please go take a look. If you have any questions, just reach out. My phone's on there, and we'll get to you. Thank you.
Mayor Torborg.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I especially want to thank Officer Guzzo for being here from our awesome Parker Police Department. You know, they really are on all of our minds right now. Certainly all law enforcement across the country are on our minds. You know, I spent the last 4 years in this amazing job, right? It's a job that only 5 other men and 1 woman has held, and it is an amazing job. The people that you get to meet, the businesses that you get to help, the Boy Scouts that come to you asking for, you know, what it's like to be the mayor, the school children, everything. It's amazing. But the best thing is when we get to help our neighbors, and the other best thing is when I get to go out there and talk about all the awesome things that happen in Parker. You know, tonight you've heard about people that want to serve, and I think it's admirable, and I appreciate each and every one of them for their service. It's a hard thing, but tonight I also hope we all end this night, regardless of your opinions, I hope we end this night thinking about Florida, thinking about Wyoming, thinking about Idaho, and all the loss of life that's expected over the next 24 hours. Let's put this aside for a second and say a prayer for Florida as they hit their second hurricane in two weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank JT for the invite. Appreciate it. John, you've done a great job as moderator. Once again, thank you so much. I just want to close. First thing, when you talk about why I want to run, I want to make Parker better. I think we're doing pretty good. I just want to make Parker better. The second thing is, you know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term, you're either on the table or on the menu. I feel like I'm on the menu. I mean, you know, taxes are going up. We're getting hit with a lot of different incremental spends. The 3 C's of the chamber, the CHU is being a catalyst for business and a champion for Parker. I think that I've lowered taxes in my current elected position as a Metro District 4 from 41 to 29. I'm all about cutting taxes. I don't think we should be sticking it to working mothers with diapers. I think we need to cut some of the taxes. And I think we can do a lot better. The broadband here, you know, we addressed it earlier. The roads are wonderful, but again, you know, we need to improve the infrastructure with the cell phone. Or cellular. I also think we have a chance. You know, if elected, I'd like the community to provide free internet for everybody in this community, because I think it'll be a way for us to connect with everybody, seniors and others. Thank you.
Last but not least, thank you, TJ, in chamber. So I'm running because I feel like I have more to give to Parker. I don't view myself as a politician. I tell people I'm a super volunteer. And I just happen to get a name tag that says I'm a council member. The council that sits up here in the audience and elsewhere, we've done a lot of great things for Parker. We care about the community. There's so many accomplishments we've done, from Harvey Open Space to the future Salisbury Park expansion, all the over $100 million worth of infrastructure improvements. And while I have a vote in that, we all do. And we all feel blessed to be here in Parker. And really, Parker is a great place, and we are doing things to make it better every day, given what we are seeing upon us at the dais. Supporting our police department, local economy, the hospital expansion, you name it, things are getting better. And so I look forward to the future. Hendricks for Parker.
All right. Well, on behalf of the Parker Chamber, its members, and the Government Affairs Committee, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. We appreciate learning more about you and your priorities. And for everyone listening, please be sure to vote in this important election. And this concludes our candidate forum. Thank you for joining us.